Hi, everyone. I'm Angela,
And I'm Isha.
and welcome to For the Love of Tinsel, your safe and cozy place to lean into your love of romantic holiday movies.
Yep, this is your time to just hang out with us and escape for a little while. We are here for the holiday magic, which we'll talk a little bit about later, and for the romance and for the wine, if it's that time of
Mhm.
day, and the escape.
Hey, and since this is a special episode, do you have any Aisha's picks to share?
I do. Okay, so I really wanted to offer up some oldies but goodies for Aisha's picks, and I was really focusing on this idea of holiday magic with a huge emphasis on the magic. So that's where my picks are going for this week. The first one is Round and Round. It came out in 2023, which is just last year.
Hmm.
Hallmark made it, and basically it's about this main character, Rachel, who's stuck in a time loop and she's reliving a Hanukkah party. And I'm recommending because honestly, it is super fun and it's
Hmm.
charming and magical in just the best way. And there's really great chemistry in it.
Yes.
And I, it's
So
just
good. It
it's
was so
so
good.
good. It's so good. It's so much fun. And there's just the holiday magic is done right in this. So
Hmm.
I really suggest it. Again, Hallmark. The next one
And
is
he's
called.
really cute. I just wanted to
He
throw
is
out
really
that
cute.
he's really
He's
cute.
really cute. He's super cute. You'll see.
Like, I mean, he was like old school Angela. Like, oh my God, that's such a crush on
Totally.
him.
And also,
Oof.
it's got the New York goodness in it. It's just all the
Hmm.
things. So,
Oh my God, he reminds me of a guy. Okay, and then
ooh,
I'll move on.
ooh,
He
we're
reminds me of a
sharing.
guy that I had a crush on who worked at like a bag store, and I never talked to him.
I think I
and
snorted out
I
my
was
nose.
and I was like, and I would go to this bag store and in the village, and he smiled at me once. He smiled at me
And that was all I
once,
needed. That's all you needed.
and this is the dumb thing. He smiled at me, and I was like, I could feel something. I was like, oh hey, and then I just freaked out and ran out the store.
You know what? It's when you feel something, but sometimes you don't know what it is. It's
Oh
shocking. It's
my
scary.
God. Then I never went back to that bag store. Anyway, he reminds me of him. Go ahead, I should
That's
tell
a
us some more
beautiful
pics.
story. You know what? We can make a holiday movie out of that. There's enough. There's enough in there. Oh my gosh,
I know.
amazing. Okay,
Okay,
so the
okay.
second one, it's
Hmm.
called Christmas at Cartwright's, and it came out in
Oh.
2014. Yes,
Oh,
10
I've never
years
seen
ago.
this one.
Okay, so it's
Hmm.
also in Hallmark, and an angel comes through for a struggling single mom who takes a job at a department store as a department store Santa Claus. Right? You heard me right. Single
Oh,
mom.
yeah.
She becomes
As
right
the Santa.
as a Santa Claus, right?
Oh,
It
okay.
is
Uh-huh.
so sweet. It's a really
Hmm.
great diverse ensemble cast. And again, this is holiday rom-com from a different time. It's 10 years ago. They did
Mm.
it differently back then, and you can
Hmm.
feel that it's different, but it's different in a good way. Like there are just real great conversations in there. There's a cute kid that can actually act, which they don't isn't always something
Oh,
that is
that's unusual.
exactly, it's not a prerequisite these
Mhm.
days. So I mean, but it's one of those movies where it's not just a rom-com of but it's about different kinds of love. There's best friends love, there's the love between the daughter and the mom, there's just all it's just good. Okay, and so
Mm.
I really recommend it. And again, it's
Now,
also on
who
Hallmark.
is in it? Do you remember who's in it, or not to put you on the
Yes, you
spot?
totally
Sorry,
did, Angela Tucker.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
I just was curious.
she's super tall. She has red
Uh
hair,
huh.
and that
Oh,
she used to be in that vampire show that used to be on HBO, True Blood. True Blood. She used to be in True
oh,
Blood.
Alicia Witt.
That's
Alicia
her.
Witt.
She's it. She plays
I
mom.
want to act like I remembered that, but I did look it up on the internet.
Okay, okay. Because you were ready, I was not, and thank you for being there
I
for
just
me.
randomly thought, who is that person?
Yes.
Okay, yeah,
Um,
she used to be in a lot of them, and I
she
feel like
used
she's
to
not really
be
in
she
them
used to
as
be a
much
lot of them.
anymore.
And also, um, there's another woman that's in like other TV shows. And I mean, like there's like, like people who are like real stars that are in this
Mm-hmm.
that they used to
Mm-hmm.
do back in the day. They would just have this small part. Like the angel is the
Mm-hmm.
guy from The Princess Bride, the one that would go inconceivable.
Oh,
That one.
Wallace Shawn.
Inconceivable.
Yes.
Okay, I'm looking now.
Okay. And
Wallace Shawn.
I love him. I
I
love
love
him.
him. I love him.
And he is so talented, but he's in it. He's got a real part. It's just super sweet movie. Like if you're
Okay.
looking for super sweet, and again, and back in the day when it's not just Santa Claus magic, there's actually an angel in it. They don't even do that anymore. Like
They don't do that
that's not
anymore.
a thing. So
Yeah.
it's old school, it's fun, and it's sweet, and I recommend them. I hope you like them.
I'm excited. I do want to say the guy from Round and Round is Brian Greenberg.
Yes.
Just, so you want to look him up.
Yes.
And
yes.
see, what Angela was into in the past.
There you go. There you go. You got a lot of information this time. Okay.
So
again, it's Round and Round 2023 Hallmark and Christmas at Cartwright's 2014. Also on Hallmark. I hope you like them, and let us know what you think after watching. We really want to hear your thoughts. Always want to hear your thoughts on our picks of the week. So that's going to be fun. So and I know that you're super, super excited about this episode.
I am.
And tell everybody about it.
So I'm so excited because we're doing a behind the curtain, which is, a segment of the show that I really, really love.
Well, what's behind the curtain?
Oh, right. I should tell people come on, you guys know what behind the curtain is. Hello. No. For people who are new to it, Isha was so polite there. What is it though? So behind the curtain is a segment that we do with the creatives who work on these holiday movies. So actors, writers, directors. We've had people who do wardrobe. One day I would love to get a set person in there, set designer in there. So all of the people will have like a producer come on, all of the people who make these films. And, as I said before, I co-wrote and directed a Christmas movie named New Orleans Noel. And, having that experience, I was just blown away by all of the creatives who make these movies. And it just comes out of so much love of the genre. And there's also just a lot of like behind the scenes things that I've always felt like lovers of these movies would just want to know.
Right.
And also creatives who want to get into this industry. We thought that this series would really be helpful for people to learn more about kind of how do you get into the industry, because the industry is incredibly mysterious, especially now. So we thought this would also be ways for people to kind of get tips on how to learn more about how to, be a part of this.
Right. And just so you know that everyone that we are bringing in, they're amazing. They are fun. They have the best personalities, and it's just a good time. Even if you're just like, I'm not writing jack, I'm just going to watch them. So great to just listen in. I really think you'll enjoy it. You're gonna learn a lot. So stay tuned.
Yeah, and why I like it so much too is I always kind of want to connect with more creatives who make these. So this is really an opportunity for me to just, for us to meet a lot of cool new people. And this week we're going to talk to Stefanie Black, who co-wrote Jingle Bell Love, and, kind of met her through putting a call out for people to be on the podcast who've worked on these movies. And so it's also just great to meet new people this way too.
Yes. So hold on to your hat. It's going to be a fun ride.
Yeah, so this is going to be great. So let's get started. Today we are so fortunate to be speaking to the amazing Stefanie Black. Hi, Stefanie.
Hi.
So Stefanie, I'm going to read your bio, but I'm going to, cut it down a little bit. Walk down memory lane. Down memory lane.
Here we go.
So here we go. Stefanie is an actor, writer, and director, originally from Allentown, Pennsylvania. My mom is from Johnstown, Pennsylvania, by the way.
Other sides of the state.
I know.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. She's the most known for her recurring roles on shows such as Scandal, Making History, House of Lies, and How I Met Your Mother, as well as appeared on This Is Us, Casual, AHS 1984, a lot of a lot of impressive things.
So many.
So many. I mean, wow. She's a graduate of NYU's Tisch School of the Arts and a founding member and artistic director of the Ovation Award-winning IAMA Theater Company. As a director, her first feature film, Adult Interference, which she co-wrote and co-directed, was distributed by Gravitas Ventures in 2019 and can be viewed on Amazon Prime, Paramount Plus, and all SVOD. So we have to check that out. And she just co-wrote, which we're going to talk to her more about today, the holiday film Jingle Bell Love, starring Joey McIntyre, that premieres on the Roku channel this holiday season. She currently resides in LA with her husband and son. I sort of compressed there. So, Stefanie, great to have you on the show. She's done a lot.
Thank you guys. Thank you. It's so weird to hear people say those things out loud. I don't know. It feels so silly.
Yeah, I bet.
But I'm so happy
I know. You're always, but I think it's important to read people's bios to some degree, because especially I feel like for women are like, oh, don't worry about it. And it's like, what?
I know.
Worry about it. Let people hear all of the incredible things that you've done.
Impressive.
You're like
I'm impressive. Let's do it.
Triple plus threat. So you know what? Let the world know.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
Thank you.
So I realize that Stefanie and I are both Film Fatales, which is an incredible organization that supports female directors who I think have directed like at least one feature, right?
Yeah, you have to have directed at least one feature or one episode of television.
Right. Yeah. So we're both members of that, and I'm actually going to be moderating a panel for them about directing Christmas movies, which we'll talk more about in later episodes. But we're excited to have you on the show.
We so are. Although I have to tell you, Femme Fatales sounds like a killer biker gang.
It kind of is. I mean, the women are pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie.
You can tell. I mean, I would want that jacket. I'm just gonna say. Okay, so I was hoping that we could just begin and just get started, just asking like how you got started in entertainment, because you are an actor, you're a director, you're a writer, and probably even more that we're not even saying. And I was curious about like, was there an order to your disciplines that developed for you? Like, do you have a first love, or was it all at once? Like, how did that happen for you?
Well, my origin story, I guess one could say, really started in theater with performing and acting. I was a theater kid. I went to performing arts summer camp where I did musical theater and dance. We even had a live working circus. I really started. I mean, I started really young.
So many questions.
I know. I started doing this like probably around like the age of 3. I had an older sister who was cast in a local production of Annie, and so I was too young to be in it, so I would go and watch every day, and I would stand in the wings, and it was just so clear I was like itching to get on stage. And once I was old enough, I finally did, and I've done many productions of Annie since. But I was just always drawn to it, so I was definitely a theater kid and an actor first. I was a dancer back in the day. And then
I knew I was missing a title. There's the ones you don't even know.
That's not. I have definitely lost those skills pretty much completely. And then when I decided to go to school at NYU, I got placed into a studio that was primarily for actors and directors. And that's where directing really caught my eye, theater directing specifically. And so I started focusing on that, and I was still focusing on acting, and I was still very active in musical theater. And then when I moved out to Los Angeles, all of a sudden the world opened up, and it was like, oh, you don't have to be just one thing or even two things. You can actually be as many things as you want. And that's when writing sort of came into my life. And I was realizing that I had so much more to say that I couldn't just say as an actor or even as a director. And so I started telling the stories that I wanted to tell, and creating characters that I could play, because I was feeling like I was kind of in a box and there wasn't enough opportunity for me. So that's kind of where the writing came from. And then sort of the kind of other thing of it is, at this time when I moved to LA, my best friends from college, we started this theater company. I am a theater company. And this company gave us a creative home. It has birthed many incredible writers, filmmakers, actors. And so I've been artistic director of this company for the last 10 years or so, but the company's been around for about 17 years. So those are all the things that have brought me sort of where I am now.
Wow. That is
Yeah.
so fantastic. Just because, I mean, there's so much in there, and not even bringing up the circus part. Um,
And I just like
I
toss that in.
right, because my brain went there for a second, and then I had to bring it back. I'm like, you have to focus these questions. But it's just that all of them kind of inform the other to make a better version
Hmm.
of the other one, which I just think is just so cool. But not everybody has the ability to do that. And the fact that you do, and then that you also foster others, I just think that's is just really, really cool because I think everybody would love someone to just show them a little bit of a pathway on
Mm.
how to do all those things. Did you have someone that you thought that you saw them doing all these things and you're like, okay, that's what I want to do?
I didn't have one person who I've had many mentors in different avenues. Like I had
Hmm.
actors who I really admired who I grew up with and saw them, get on Broadway and be like, "Oh, I know someone who's on Broadway, so that feels
Right.
possible." Or
Right.
I had friends who got on a TV show and then I was like, "Oh, that's possible too." Um and the filmmaking, that one kind of came out as a surprise because I didn't really grow up with any connection into sort of that world. Um, but I've had so many different mentors over the years. I definitely had a few specific ones when it came to like being an artistic leader and being like a
Mm,
facilitator and an advocate and things like that for people. There was like a couple different people that I've worked with over the years who have really informed and helped me shape how I do that work. And yeah, I think I've just sort of taken from a lot of different places, but honestly, I think the path I forged, I didn't really see any examples of. I was just constantly feeling like when a door was in front of me that I couldn't open, I just would pivot and just try to like bang on 10 more doors, and then they would open and it would surprise me where I would go down. And I always joke that I'm not a person who can have a hobby because hobbies turn into career paths for me sometimes.
Oh my God, Stephanie,
like
we are the same
like
I was about to say, I
I
was
I
like,
would
you
love
are speaking to the
oh,
converted right
I
now.
mean,
Oh
if
my
I
God,
took a
I
pottery
yes.
class, I would all of a sudden own and
Mhm.
like open up an Etsy shop. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't just like make a bowl just for the sake of like art. I wish I could do that
Oh
more
my
because I would love to just have that. I wish I could
Mhm.
just like paint and drink wine, but I would try to sell it, or try to somehow make a platform
But
for all other artists to come and do this. Like,
but that's the
yeah.
thing that makes you special though, because I mean, we all need that person who's sitting around with like 50 bowls that they made, trying to give them away at Christmas time, not knowing what the possibilities are. Like we
True.
need a Stephanie.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's amazing. Although there's always the part that everyone's like, you're great, but not everyone can be a Stephanie, you know? Like you
Mhm.
want to
Mhm.
try, but it's just it's really a talent to be like, you know what else I could do? You know what else I could do? I mean, I think that's I don't know. That's but Angela is like you as well, just
Well, I
FYI.
no, I have a similar like I've started to get into like collaging and doing kind of more visual
Oh,
art,
cool.
and I keep saying this is gonna stay in like the hobby realm, but then it's I'm like,
Well,
well,
I
maybe
I
I'll sell them. Maybe oh, there's an installation.
I was
I'll
about to
submit
say
to
why
that.
why are you in DC, Angela?
I'm in DC because I have two video pieces in an installation here. This thing called Torrents,
Oh my god, that's
which
so
is
cool.
Right?
uh, and so and I also have a collage piece that I did that's in a show in Lawrenceville, Kansas.
Oh wow.
And so I was like, oh, this is going to be a hobby. But then I said, well, why don't I just start submitting to things? And so it's kind of a new thing. But I do have a question for you
Yes.
about directing.
Okay.
And
Yes.
um, because, when you start out as, acting and then kind of making the move to like writing and directing
Hmm.
can be daunting. I also feel like to Aisha's question about mentors and role models,
Mm.
I'm really kind of focused on as women
Mm,
um, getting those opportunities to direct.
Yeah.
It more they're even more challenging, right? So I'm curious, when did you like decide to make the switch? I know you've directed a film and you also wrote this one. When did you make the switch to, and which order was it? Did you write first and then direct, or vice versa?
I wrote first. So I was still kind of dabbling in like
Oh.
theater directing, but I was kind of like, it felt like a little too hard to know where that was going to go. So I was really focusing just on acting. But then um, I started writing short plays. I think that was the first thing. And I was actually in an acting class, and someone gave us a challenge of writing a scene for two other people in it. And I I mean, I knew from obviously working in television that I understood screenplay format and things like that. I never gone to school for any of this. I just was sort of self-taught. But I took this challenge and I had an idea and I just sort of put it to paper or to the computer. And it when I saw it performed in front of me, I was like, oh my God, this is so exciting. And that kind of got me started. So I started writing short plays. A friend of mine, we had a very similar sense of humor. And so him and I started um, writing this sort of sketch that turned into a web series that then turned into a pilot. And that sort of kicked off my writing in a way. So I was writing some web series, and I was writing a ton of, we had I think together him and I had written like 4 or 5 pilots. And I was
Oh
starting
wow.
Wow.
to, yeah, and I was starting to write my first feature. And that was when a friend of mine who I'd gone to the Williamstown Theater Festival with. So a lot of my stuff, all of my origins kind of come from the theater world. That's a lot of where like things kicked off, or I met different people. And my friend had this wild story about what had happened to him. And he was like, I think this is a movie. Would you, want to write it with me? And then he's like, and you can direct it. And I said, great, who's going to produce it? And then we had another friend of ours who was at this festival with us, who's also one of my best friends from college. She's a wonderful producer, but she's also a director. And she's like, I'll produce it if we co-direct it. And I was like, awesome. So we had all these multiple hats. So we had him and I were writing it together, and we were both in it. Her and I were directing it together. She was producing with another woman that I had met through a different acting class, and we sort of together made this feature. And we, from start to finish, from like inception to when we went to production, was really fast. It was like a 5-month process. We got this thing up
Wow.
and funded super fast and shot it. Um, and that was really exciting. And that at that point, I think I had already directed about 4 different shorts and had gone through the festival circuit with those. So I was like, this was a really great culmination of all of that. And I was like, okay, here I am. I'm ready to jump into film directing. And then the next, desire was to move into episodic directing, which is still something I'm trying to open that door to, which is quite hard. But I've shadowed so many times, and I have worked with so many wonderful female directors in the episodic space as an actor, who have let me shadow them and who have mentored me. So I
Oh, that's
feel
great.
like I'm super close to it. But it's been a journey for sure.
That's really awesome. So, because of our fan base, we have to ask:
Yeah.
were you a fan of holiday rom com movies before writing one?
Oh, absolutely. So
Okay,
I'm Jewish,
yay!
and I love
Gotcha.
Christmas. I was the kid who would
It's
beg my
okay.
parents to take me to see Santa every year, and I would sit on his lap, and he would say, "What do you want for Christmas?" And I would say, "I'm Jewish, but I would like blah 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 blah." I was like bought in hook line sinker for the Christmas. My family growing
Oh,
up, we would go, my grandparents lived in New York City, and we would go in for Thanksgiving and go to the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And then the next day we'd go to Rockefeller Center and go to the tree and go ice skating. Um, I spent every Christmas growing up going either to the theater and Chinese food, um, going to see
yep.
Santa at Macy's. Like I love Christmas, is my favorite time of the year. And I don't care that I'm not supposed to celebrate it. I love it so much. And because of that, I love these movies. I'm like a total sucker for anything. I've also done, like, as an actor, when I was a kid, I did A Christmas Carol like 10 times growing up. So I'm like,
Aw.
I'm all about the Christmas, which I
Okay.
love. And so it was a natural progression. So I have, as an actor, I have done quite a few of these movies. And after the last one that I did a couple years ago, I did a film called Steppin' Into the Holidays with Mario Lopez and Jana Kramer, which was
Yep.
super
Yes.
fun. I played her
We both
sister.
saw that
Yeah.
film
Yes, we
and
did.
reviewed it on
Yes,
our
we did.
Oh, it
podcast.
was so
Mhm.
fun. It was a
Mhm.
blast. It was the first
Mhm.
it was the first job I did, I think, after I had my son, and he was only like
Mhm.
6 months old maybe when I left to film it. It was such a blast, and I loved everybody a part of it, and I was just like, I got to write one of these, and so that's kind of
Mhm.
how that came to be. And Darren Flam, who's my co-writer, he had this idea, and he's like, "You just did this. We should write one of these." And we sort of outlined this idea, and we just kind of jumped off of like a little kernel of a thing. He'd written a little bit of a kind of a short version of an idea, and so we took that and kind of expounded on it, and it became Jingle Bell Love.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I just a couple of comments. Number one, props to your parents. Okay. I'm listen, I'm gonna these are the things that I hear. I hear your parents are awesome and they just wanted you to be happy. And just for the record, Christmas is can be a lot of things to a lot of different people
For sure.
because, I quite frankly, Santa Claus isn't really owned by everybody or can be owned by everybody because
Absolutely.
Yeah.
it just can. And I grew up in New York City on the Lower East Side, so Hanukkah was a huge part of my life growing up.
Absolutely.
Me too. Me
So,
too.
I'm from the Lower East Side. So for me, this time of the year is holiday season,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Like it is
It's
just about
magical
that's
holiday
why I
time.
love yeah, exactly. It's a holiday time. So, we ate everybody's food and we celebrated everybody's whatever they were celebrating was a time for celebration. That was enough. And
Hmm.
so I get it. I love that your parents are like, she wants Santa Claus. Because, Angela knows my children have, especially when they were little, this obsession with latkes, right? They wanted the
Obsessed.
latkes, they wanted the donuts, they wanted the dreidels every year.
So
Mhm.
And
funny.
every year I had to go and, their auntie would come over, Danielle, and she would make her because she's Jewish and she was like, this is what my nephews need. And she would make them
Mhm.
fresh latkes and they would help her. And
So good.
this was what life was like
I
in,
love
in
it.
our house. So I just want you to know that you were seen and you were not alone.
Thank you. Thank
That's
you.
is this is you're welcome. This is what we did. So again, there's something magical about the season
Hmm.
that's just really really fun, and that's definitely something that we talk a lot about, that you can really like for children there's something special in there, and even for grown-ups, and a lot of times it's just nostalgia, but it's still magical nonetheless. It just gives you that warm and fuzzy that you can't get any other time of the year. So
Oh,
um
absolutely. And I'm like introducing that to my son. I mean, he's only 3, and so but he loves listening to musical theater soundtracks. He loves movies, and so we're kind of I've been starting to prep him on Elf the musical because we're going to New York for the holidays, and I'm
oh
like, maybe he's old enough. We'll see. So I've been like feeding it to
Oh,
him a little
yeah.
bit and trying to get him excited about that.
okay, Elf is the best.
Oh
I've
yeah, the
never
Broadway
seen the
musicals.
musical. I've seen
I
the
haven't
movie, but not the
either.
musical.
I've just been starting to listen
Mhm.
to it, and it's really charming, and it definitely captures the spirit of the movie. I mean, that's like one of the best. I think that is
Absolutely.
Yeah,
such a
yeah.
great
Absolutely.
film.
Hands down.
Can you tell us a little bit about like what Jingle Bell Love is about,
Yes.
and how did you guys like come up? How did I guess how did he come up with the story and that kind of thing?
So Darren had written, he'd written and directed a short that he'd made a few years ago that was about basically about a family where the mom was dying of cancer. And so
Mm.
it was a beautiful film, and he had this idea of like, what is the husband who's a survivor, what is his like life like after, and they had children. And so he kind of used that character as a jumping off point. So Jingle Bell Love follows
Mm.
Jack, who is a widow. His daughter Grace is a precocious 12-year-old, and it's the first Christmas after it's been a year since his late wife Kate had passed away. And so they're heading back to Kate's hometown to spend the first Christmas without her with Kate's family. And Jack
Mm.
didn't really he grew up raised by a grandmother. He's not very close to his family. This was really his family. So they're headed home to spend time with her family and to sort of celebrate the year and to prepare to move on. Jack's
Mm.
started dating Veronica, who he works with in Chicago. And the backstory of Jack is that when him and Kate met, they met and fell in love through music. They were in a band together in college. and the music was their shared love. And when they decided to have a family, Jack put that on the back burner, and he sort of gave up his dreams in order to provide for his family, because he didn't really have that growing up. So he wanted to make sure that he could give Grace and Kate the life that they deserved. And so they moved out of a small town into a big city. He put his dreams on the shelf, and he's taken this job in like corporate real estate. So like check the box of like Christmas movie trope number 1, right?
I was about to say.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this movie hits all the tropes in the best way.
I was like, it's
but
Chicago.
it still feels layered, though. I have to say,
no,
there's some layers here.
Absolutely layered, but you also have checked the boxes of like, this is a rom-com. There,
absolutely,
the challenges are there's the city, there's the move from the small town to the city back to the small town. There's all the stuff,
and we wanted. At the heart of it for us, this is a movie about people connecting through their love of music and their love of Christmas. And so, Grace, she's kind of one of those characters who's obsessed with Christmas movies. As a kid, she watches a ton of them. She's also a drummer. Like that's Grace's sort of dream, is that she's a drummer. So she's always banging around on her drumsticks.
Oh my God, you guys, you filled in so many different Christmas movies.
Oh, it's got
like things in this movie. I was like,
it's going to be a drinking game of like every movie constantly references, things like, things I know, like originally in the script was things like the Christmas Switch 2 sequels. What does this mean?
Oh my goodness!
Stop. Like the Prince and Me. I mean,
there's so excited.
There's so many. So we brought in all the tropes, but at the core of it is these two people who are really bonding over their love of music.
I heard that there was an original song in this movie.
Oh, it is.
Aisha loves Christmas music.
And
so
it's a great.
There's an original song.
It's a great song. I remember. Joe sent me like a voice memo, and he's like, "Here's this song I just kind of plopped out. What do you think?" And I was like, first of all, every time he texts me, my 13-year-old self like brain explodes. Because I'm like, I can't believe Joey McIntyre is my friend. And I say that to his face because I think he's awesome. He's one of the kindest people I know. He's so talented. He's such a gem for doing this movie, and he's fantastic in it too. So but the song is beautiful, and it's him and Shoshana Bean, and it's called A Brand New Christmas, and it's all about starting over. And yeah, it's a great song, and he's gonna sing it on the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Stop!
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
I know. Like this just keeps getting better and better.
Keep coming.
I know, it's so fun.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm feeling very, very grateful this holiday season. It's very cool.
Oh my goodness, all the things. And I just want to say, just for the record, like we're saying like all the tropes, but it actually is the best of them. It is. You can tell that it's written by people who love these holiday movies, right? Like it's kind of like bringing you in on it, like understanding we know what we're doing, and I love that. Like I think that's just so much fun.
Oh, good. We had a blast.
I'm excited.
We had a blast writing it. It was fun to figure out all these. Well, what if it could be this? And there was definitely like a moment where Darren and I were like, we don't know enough about commercial real estate. We probably need to do a little more research. So like that was one point where we were both like, we should figure out if this is actually real, what we've decided is happening. And we did. And we went to a few experts and we are like, oh, good. We didn't just like make that up. That can happen. But it was a blast trying to figure out the different voices of the characters. And we had a really wonderful collaboration too. I mean, he had such a great sense of Jack and of that story, and Darren's also a dad, and so we both had this parental relationship that we have in our own lives, and so that we were able to bring that into the script. And then I love Christmas movies, and I just wanted to have a character who was just talking about them all the time. I don't know, these movies always make me think I could go move to like some small town in Michigan and just like work at a coffee shop and have Christmas every day. Like, does it, like, you watch these movies, I watch these movies.
It really does.
And I just think I could live in an episode of Gilmore Girls for the rest of my life. Like, that's what it makes me think.
Sure. It's the same space in your brain where you go to Target and you're like, you know what? I could totally redecorate my home.
Exactly.
Because it's right here in front of me.
Yes.
It is totally possible.
Yeah.
Like it's within my reach.
So funny.
Yeah. All the things that need to come together for that to happen. But yes, that's so. I just think that's so cool. So, I guess one of my questions for you is like how I've always wondered this because I write as well, but I'm not a director, like the both of you are. And when you like, how involved were you in the filming process?
So yeah, that's a great question because this was a first time experience for me as a writer of this way,
Mhm.
and we were really not. It's a very specific sort of
Gotcha.
machine for how these movies get made. Um, it's a film, but it's also television, and so
Right.
Yeah.
film, and like it's different because like in TV. The writers are the producers and they do have a say, and then in film the directors are, but in like TV movies, the writers are sort of more detached even. So we had this script and we brought it out and tried to get interest, and we brought it to this company in Chendo who's based out of Montreal. And they loved the
Mhm.
film and we were thrilled. Our one of our producers is this woman Brooke Nevins, who is a friend of mine, and she had worked in this space and worked with this company, and so we brought her the film and said we really want to get this made. We're reaching out to different contacts on our side, what do you think? And she's like, I love this. Let's try to work together. And so um, she brought it to Incendo, and they loved it. And so we ended up partnering with them, and then they ended up partnering with Roku. So basically what happens is Incendo kind of buys our script, and we weren't starting from scratch because we had a script already. So we did two really big rewrites, and then we handed off to
Mhm.
them. And
Mhm.
they had brought on their director when we were doing the rewrite, so we got to meet her and have a conversation. And she gave us feedback and thoughts that she had. And we had like some nice discussion there. And then we handed off that final draft, and it got approved by Roku. And then they went off and made it. So there's probably a ton of changes. I mean, I know there are certain changes that had happened, things like names
Mhm.
being changed, um, little things like that come up all the time. Even the title of the movie, like these things change that the
Right.
once you hand it off, you don't really have a say in, but you trust that the people you're working with have the best spirit of the movie involved, and they do. And that's sort of what happens. But it is kind of a crazy thing if when you're coming from independent
Yeah.
filmmaking, when you're used to like doing
Mhm.
all of it, so to be able to like hand to give my movie off to someone and have no say in like the only casting that we were
Right.
part of is that Joey McIntyre was a friend of mine. And so we went to him
Mm.
first as we were writing the movie and I said,
Oh,
would you be
wow.
interested in doing this? I've been writing this. I think you'd be wonderful in the role. And he said yes. So when we were bringing it out, he was already attached. So that was the hand that we had there.
Oh, that's
And that
brilliant.
came because of us. But then once we handed it off, it was, out of our hands, and they did all the casting, and it was shot in Montreal. It was cast out of Montreal. Um,
Mhm.
Canadian companies have a pretty strict formulas of how they work because of the tax credits. In
Mhm.
and the I don't know exactly what it's called, the rebates or situation in Canada. It's really specific. You have to have a certain amount of people who are Canadian to get the money that they need to offset to be able to have the production happen. So because of that,
Right.
I couldn't direct it or be in it because I definitely wrote a part for myself, and the
Mm.
intention was to direct it. But at the end of the day, we really just wanted to get this made, and we really, connected with the company with Incendo, and we loved their thoughts, and Roku as well. And we're so excited for this movie to come out. It's going to be so great. And
Now, I have a couple of just follow up questions
yeah,
because people who listen to this podcast are, they're people lovers of Christmas movies, but also people who are really interested in sort of the industry and how the industry works.
yeah.
So I just wanted just one follow up question about this notion of, okay, you write the script
Hmm.
and then you take it out. What is that process of taking it out? Like, how do you, for someone who's just kind of sitting at home and they wrote a script and they're like, I want to take it out. What does that mean? How do they do that?
So, God, yeah, it's such a complicated question, right?
I know, I
There's
know.
so many different answers. One is that the route that we went down to start was that while I have representation as like an actor, um, uh, I did not have specifically, still I kind of was still not without, I was still without an agent as a writer and a director. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that actually happened for me as a result of being able to push this movie forward. And my
Mm.
in was through the path that has been open for me, which was acting. So I had made a ton of relationships with different producers and people at the networks who make these movies, like Lifetime and Hallmark,
Mm.
and Netflix, because I've done so many of them. So I
Mhm.
started there, And I said, here, I have this script. I have an actor attached, which definitely helps. Having a big name, like a marquee name like Joey, really helps.
Yeah.
People, sit up and be like, oh, I'll take a read. And so I started with that. Then we brought my friend Brooke on. And so she has done a lot of movies in this space as well. So she went out to the different people she had, and she had these connections with more Canadian companies. So she went down sort of that path. So we kind of like spread out. And this was all through our own personal relationships. And then that's really how the interest came. So we didn't actually start this with any representation. It was just through our personal relationships that for both of us came from being actors in this space. So we really, that's for us how it really happened. And then since then, like I have an agent now who now can take what I've done. And because, once you have something that's been made as a proven entity, that actually can help open more doors. And so I've even felt a little bit of the aftermath of that, even before the movies aired, for having people, see if there's interest of me to work on another project or get IP sent to me of something that someone's looking to turn into a Christmas movie. And I'm like, ooh, because I want to, and I'm writing another one just to see. Now I have a path forward, how to go down it. But this for this one, for me, it was the personal relationships, and I always knew that I wanted to do more in this space than just act. So when I was working on those projects, I was getting to know those people and trying to create a path forward for the future that was beyond just me being an actor in their film. So that's kind of how I did it. I think there is like an opportunity when you have, I will say this, a lot of these places want a finished script. They're not going to start something from the development place of like a pitch or a log line. They're going to want the full script. So if you have the script, you're in a better place to start.
Thank you. That was invaluable.
Oh, good.
To everyone trying to do this. All right. So we are going to ask you a question that we ask everyone that we interview.
Okay.
And that is, do you have a favorite rom-com holiday movie? In just rom-com and then in general, right? Because I know you already mentioned like A Christmas Carol. We can talk about that for a while. But do you have a favorite? Okay. Favorite is mean. Favorite's mean. How about top 3?
Ooh, I can do that. Okay.
In the last 2 years.
Oh, no. The last 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, because I listen. I know.
I mean, I was like ready for like Love Actually, Home Alone. Like I was, like while you were sleeping. I mean, come on, that is a
oh my god,
oh my goodness,
right?
You did not bring up
my
all-time
favorite. I could just talk about that.
She can do like 4 episodes about while you were sleeping and why it's gold.
So good,
changed my life. I love that movie.
But if we're talking, okay, okay, oh my god, now I'm trying to remember. I saw this one 2 years ago, and then they made a sequel, and I loved it so much. And my husband and I watched it, and it was so fun. And I think about it all the time. And now I'm totally blanking on what it's called. It's a British one.
We'll know the name if you just start.
I was about to say, I know what she's going to say. I know, Angela, it's my movie.
Which
the
one?
British one that I told you that I love.
The one, it's on Prime. And it's like they go to opposite. They go to each other's opposite home.
Yes, exactly, and they switch. I know.
And then 2 episodes about those films. What are they called again?
It's like Yours and Mine or something like
Your
that.
Christmas or
Your
Mine.
Christmas or
Your
Mine.
Christmas or Mine.
Yes. Your Christmas or Mine.
Yes.
Loved it.
Yes.
Loved
it.
it.
Oh my goodness, me too.
I loved it.
Oh my god,
so
we
much.
loved it.
I made Angela watch it because I was like, you will watch it.
Did you watch the sequel where they went to the ski resort? Oh, that one was even funnier.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was a big fan.
I love the family in that. Like to me,
I love the family.
The family was the magic. They were great, but it was the family that was like it's a love comedy because there's so many different kinds of love in the movie that make it special as opposed to just a romantic comedy. And it was funny as all heck. So
and we diverse. I just love that it's like diverse.
Oh my God, it's so diverse.
In like a the quintessentially British way, where
her family was amazing. The hot tub. the champagne in the hot
I
tub, the indoor
know.
hot tub. I was like, what?
I know.
It
Those
was
are the
so
best.
So good.
yeah.
So good.
That one was
Yeah. Yeah.
so good. Yeah, that one
I
in
know.
the
Stephanie, you're
last
our
few years.
people.
I was
Yeah.
about to say, Stephanie, we see you.
We see you. We
I
see
see
you.
you guys. I do.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
also, you know what? I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie. I loved those Christmas Switch movies. The third one, I was like, maybe we didn't need a third one, but
Right.
I love I
the
feel the same
first
way. I love the
the
Christmas
first
Switch
one was.
movies.
I mean, I love a good fictional European country that's like one
Sure.
town that everybody
Sure.
can get to so easily. Love that.
Absolutely.
And it's always beautifully snow covered. It's probably in Romania or something. It's
It
and
always
that
looks like Genovia, like
yeah,
no
it's
matter
all
what.
Genovia. It's all Genovia. Yes.
Mhm.
I know
I
they're talking about
know. I
making a
know.
third of the Prince of those movies, but can't they make it a Christmas one? That would be if it was Genovia at Christmas. I would appreciate that.
Right. I did hear that they're making another one.
Maybe you know what
Yes.
actually is like from the last couple of years. It is truly one of my favorite Christmas movies, and I think this would qualify as a Christmas movie. But I loved the Downton Abbey Christmas episode that they did when when the season was like done.
I've heard about it.
It
I
was
haven't watched it.
so good.
I
It
need
was
to
so
watch
Was it?
that. I didn't
Okay,
know it was
and
Christmas time.
we have
Yeah.
been given an assignment.
That one was really
You're
good.
giving us an
And
assignment. We're gonna do it.
I accept
Mhm.
it. I
Mhm.
do. I accept that challenge.
That one was
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
I am
Trying to
on.
think what is another one
Those
that
are
I've loved.
those are
Oh,
respectable choices, my
Those
friend.
I actually I got really into the Noel Diary. Was that last year or 2 years ago
Oh,
with
Justin
wait, didn't we?
Hartley.
with Justin
Yeah,
Hartley
reviewed
and,
that one
and
too.
Barrett
that one?
Doss?
We
We
reviewed it
reviewed that
last
one too.
So I was super into it because, well, I was on This Is Us and worked with Justin, and so I was like, oh,
Oh,
you know,
right.
he's great, and I want to see it. And then Barrett Doss is a friend of mine, and I was like, I got to watch
Oh,
her in a
wow.
movie. But I really liked it
Mhm.
because it was subtle, but also it broke that whole rule of one kiss per movie. They like full on
Yep.
had sex
Oh,
in that
yeah.
movie.
Wait,
There was a
I'm
full on.
sorry.
They had sex in that movie, and I was like, nobody
Full
does that in
on
Christmas
sex.
movies. Like, I'm
Okay, first
excited.
of all, back up. I didn't even know
Wait,
there was a
one
one kiss
kiss?
per movie.
I mean, pretty much these formulas are like, there's always a like moment where like, oh, it might happen, and then it doesn't, and then there's like, oh, it might
Right.
happen, it
Yeah.
doesn't.
Right.
There's like the bonding
Mhm.
moment, but usually, and I'm pretty sure like Hallmark even had a rule, or even Lifetime, where it was like, it all builds up to the one, and it doesn't happen till
Right.
the very
Mm.
end. So if you see our movie, like, it doesn't happen till the very end, and so you
Gotcha.
earn it.
Oh,
You got to earn
wow.
that kiss. It's like,
Gotcha.
yeah, it's like a big deal.
Interesting.
Yeah, so the movies that get a little bit like sexier and saucier, like especially I haven't gotten to watch them yet, and this year's is harder because of just having a toddler. It just makes everything harder. But I'm
Yep.
all about this. Like these 4 movies on Netflix, cannot wait to see them all. They all look sexy and fun,
Mhm.
and I'm like
It's so funny.
really excited to see like what that's all about.
Okay, so we're having an episode this season about the sexy in
Mhm.
holiday movies, and I have a bunch of them that I love. That I'm not going to mention now because you have to
Don't
wait
mention
and listen
now.
to the episode.
Okay,
But
okay.
yeah, just when you totally are aware of when they're like bringing the grown up stuff
Uh-huh.
and
Mhm.
what that can add to a movie, which is just it's different and can be a lot of fun because sometimes you're in a grown up mood and you still want to
Yeah.
celebrate the holidays. And you
Yeah.
know what? There are instances where you can do both, and that's okay. And bless Jenna Kramer's heart because sometimes she's just like,
Well,
I got
Jenna
you.
Kramer, you know,
Oh,
last
love
year
Jenna.
Yeah.
had the
The
Christmas movie
cowboy
where it
one. It was
Cowboy one,
Christmas
yeah.
Cowboy, something like
Mhm.
that.
So it's a
Mhm.
small community
Mhm.
too of these Christmas movies because I did Stepping Into the Holidays with Jana, where I played her sister. But then Jake Helgren, who I think wrote and directed the cowboy one that Jana did, I did a Christmas movie like right at the beginning of COVID with him that he wrote and directed called Christmas on the Menu. And I've done another movie with his company as well. So like it's all like there's these families of people who are working together making these movies. I mean, Jake has made so many of these, and they're all
Really?
lovely and super fun.
Oh, cool. Oh,
Well,
wow.
yeah,
That's great.
and one of the things that I've noticed is that they've like Hulu because they don't have the Netflix rules, right? So
Right.
I mean, sorry, they don't have like the Hallmark and the
Yeah.
Lifetime rules, so
Mhm.
they can get a little racier and fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely, because we definitely try to make sure that we kind of spread out who we're talking about, so that everyone, as much as we can we can talk about their Christmas movies too.
Mhm.
And definitely more the racier Netflix, Hulu now has some of the racier ones of old are fun.
Oh, there's
Yeah.
so.
They're
Did
a
you
lot of
guys
fun.
see Merry Kiss Cam a few years back? That was on Hulu.
No. Oh, wait, is that the one with the one from Scandal?
It's Katie Lowe's. That's my best friend who I started my theater company
Oh.
with.
Stop!
So yeah, I mean that's
Oh,
why I'm like
okay.
I'm sporting the
Stop!
Shondaland,
Oh,
merch here.
Shonda, yes.
Love it,
Okay,
love it,
yeah.
love
So
it.
Katie,
And
that
you threw in
didn't see
Princess
that
Diaries,
one.
by the way. Do not think I didn't notice that Shonda, who directed the first Princess Diaries,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Right? It's all connected, right? We're all connected.
Absolutely. But
Mhm.
yeah, Katie was in Merry Chris Cam, and I loved that one. And she just
Mhm.
made out with Jesse Bradford the whole movie. And I was like, "There's no rule
You know
here."
what? Get paid for it.
The whole movie
Get
was about
paid
them
for
making
it.
out, and I was like, "Wow, okay."
Yeah, yeah. Oh, Jesse Bradford. I had a big crush on him
I
for a
mean,
little bit. And whatchamacallit?
bring it on.
Bring It On.
Who
Bring It
didn't?
On.
Who didn't?
Oh
I
my
mean,
Lord. He
yeah.
was
And then
just
Swim Fan.
kind of
Oh
like
yeah.
Penn Badgley before Penn Badgley.
That's a really that is so on the
Wow.
money.
Has that
Yes.
vibe.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Yeah.
Look at
All
us
right.
totally dating
I know.
ourselves
Look at
right
us.
now.
Look
That's
at
just
us.
some
Seriously.
like
Dating
millennial.
ourselves.
That's just some millennial stuff right there. Yep.
That really
Fair.
is. That really is.
Yeah.
I know. Our like Gen Z. Wait, our interns who are Gen Z. I don't know what they are. They're like who? Jesse who?
Right, exactly.
Oh yeah, they probably don't know who
Yeah.
any of the stars of these movies are.
No, but they will look it up with a quickness, and then they'll be like,
Mhm.
"Oh, sure, I think I kind of know that." Like, all right.
Yeah,
I love
Aisha. Before because we should wrap it up. But Aisha,
Yes.
tell them about Joey when you talk to them about Joey
Oh
McIntyre.
my goodness, they're going to be so embarrassed.
They're gonna be so
Angela.
embarrassed.
Because
Why?
they are going to be so I'm letting them know that we're talking to you, and I'm like, guess, and I, my voice is getting all high because I'm like, and guess who's going to be starring? It's gonna be Joey Mac, and like the
Blank. Yeah.
like it was just I'm like from New Kids on the Block, Joey, and they're like, oh right, we knew that. I think yeah. Like I'm like, oh my god,
That's so funny.
I'm like, look him up.
Did you go like,
okay?
oh?
No,
Yeah,
because
right.
I had a. They would the look that they would give me, I couldn't unsee, and
Oh
I don't need that in my life right now. Okay, I
That's
just
so funny.
well, I don't need
Yeah.
that.
They
All right,
will
so-
know now because he is the gift that keeps on giving, for sure.
Exactly,
know.
always has been,
Okay,
always
yay.
will
Oh,
be.
yep,
You can let them know
exactly.
that I said it.
I will.
Yeah. So Jingle Bell Love
Mhm.
on the Roku channel. Check it out. So excited to see it. I can't wait to see it.
Yay.
And thank you so much, Stephanie, for hanging out with us.
Oh, thank
You
you.
are
Thank you.
awesome.
This was so fun. I
We
can't wait to
appreciate you.
watch more movies this holiday season too.
Mhm.
Okay, here's something to think about from us. Magic doesn't have to be just for the movies. During this holiday season, we're going to challenge you to manifest the wonderful in your life. Embrace gratitude, gift yourself some grace, and most of all, protect your peace. Breathe with intention of self-love. You never know, amazing things can happen. Till next time.
Till next time. Thanks, Aisha. And thank you guys for listening. Now, remember, you can reach out to us on social media. You can find us on the number 4, the Love of Tinsel, on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or go to our website, fortheloveoftinsel.com. And we want to do special thank yous to our producer, Dwayne Prefew, our interns, Adia and Andy. Thank you so much, especially this week where we kind of make fun of you, but we love you.
Yeah.
And our incredible logo designer, Kara Morehouse of
It's a little blue windmill.
Little Blue Windmill.
Yeah.
See, this is what I get for not writing things down, but Little Blue Windmill.
It's awesome.
And thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next week.